Welcome to VentilationX Radio. I'm your host, Playdat. You're probably wondering why you can see me right now. See, VentilationX is an all-media company, and we like to mix it up with different projects. So when there's something in the studio that is visually representative and you guys need to see it, we make it a VCast. Today in the studio I have André Robert Lee, movie producer and director extraordinaire.
I can't afford not to record.
So André, tell these people who you are.
I'm André Robert Lee. I'm a director and made a movie entitled The Prep School Negro. I also work closely with VentilationX as manager, producer, consultant, just sort of all around with the team to help them stay on target.
All around good friend.
All around good friend with VentilationX. That's my title.
Andre's been helping us put together and keep our business together for years now, but as you can guess, he's got his own projects, one of which is The Prep School Negro, his new documentary. I'm going to show you the trailer right now, and then we'll be back in a minute so Andre can give us a rundown of the movie. Check it out.
You cannot show up to AP classes, AP English, and be like, yo, what up?
When I first started going to school, so they wanted to touch my hair, I definitely was the almanac for white people about black people.
They're coming from a family of doctors and lawyers. We're coming from, a family that's working 3 jobs just to get food on the table.
Why are we using the term Negro?
When I first started doing research around the topic,
Yes.
and looking through the paperwork, and they were talking about placing the Negroes in these schools, and I was like, they called us that? My mother and my grandmother and my aunt all worked in a factory. The man who owned the factory, his son was in my class.
I'm André Robert Lee. I grew up in the ghettos of Philadelphia. People always told me I got a golden ticket. When I was 14, I got a scholarship to attend a prestigious private prep school. As soon as I set foot in the school, I started to go in a separate direction from my family. And now, 20 years later, I'm trying to figure out what it all means.
When you're pushed into a school and told to start thinking differently and act differently, everything has changed. You're like told, this is what you were, this is what you'll become.
That school just took my brother away from me, and that's not my brother, that's somebody else. I mean, his talk is different, his walk is different. You're not them, you're us.
When I went home, they said I was talking white, and they said I wasn't black anymore.
In this community, I'm considered real black. In another community, in my neighborhood, I'm considered a white boy. I go to private schools.
People always try to say, you're not gangster, you went to prep school, you went to school on Park Avenue. On another level, how much harder do you think it is to come back on 142nd Street in Lenox with a polo shirt and penny loafers and survive? That's gangster.
What do we gain from going inside the ivory tower? What did we sacrifice?
So we're back. You've seen the trailer. Now, Andre, tell us about this project.
The Prep School Negro is a film that I directed, and I sort of had this idea since 9th grade, and I thought it was going to be a journal, I thought it was going to be a magazine, I wasn't sure, but I knew it would be something called the Prep School Negro something, because I had that title from learning that that's what they called the students when they were recruiting them. So, like 5 years ago, I decided it was going to be a film because I was working in the movie business, and I was like, that's what I do. Let's make a movie about it. Let's make it a documentary. And spent 3 years sort of raising money and preparing myself to go through it psychologically and emotionally because it's a very intense experience. And then found the money and spent 2 years plus, about 24 months in production.
So you've spent all this time in production. Is it festival ready yet?
Yeah, the documentary is festival ready. It's ready for distribution. It's completed. We're done, and we actually applied to a large number of festivals, and we're waiting to hear now. It's a tricky game. You never know what's going to happen, and my thought is festivals would be really great, because it's a great chance to exposure. We're trying to sell it and trying to find a distribution partner, and if that happens, that'd be super because people can see it in large audiences. It's not the kind of film I want people to watch alone in a room yet. I want people to watch it like as a movie experience, in a room full of people so I can talk about it, because it brings us some very heavy issues and topics.
Well, how did you pick a cast for such a big project?
Well, I followed a bunch of kids around for about a year and a half for the documentary, and they all were really, really great and interesting. And when I first started out, I had this idea of covering all these celebrities. I was like seeking out Barack Obama, thinking like he's the ultimate prep school Negro. You know, the leader of the free world is a prep school Negro, and he talks about what the school meant to him. But I sort of scaled back, and I had Taye Diggs, who wanted to be in the movie, and we were going to do an interview. I had a bunch of actresses and all these people who were like big names. And I only spent time with one, and that was with Damon Dash. Damon Dash, who was Jay-Z's partner, Rockefeller, etc. Because he has such an interesting story, and we sat down for like 2.5 hours. And it's kind of funny, because when I told him the name of the movie, he was like, yo, what? What'd you call me? And I was like, no. I was saying the name of the movie is The Prep School Negro, and he was like, really? You know, and I had to sort of break it down to get him through it, because he was kind of like, what's up with that, you know? And then as I explained it, he got it, you know, because the title is very powerful. But to answer that question, Damon Dash, you know, I use him because he has a really interesting story. He went to like 4 private schools and was expelled from all of them, and ended up getting his GED at the end of the day. But he had a lot to say about the experience and what it meant to him and how it shaped him. And he put his kids in private school because he felt it was a really important education, and also with his particular lifestyle, he couldn't exactly put him in public school. But he had a lot to say about the experience and what it meant and what it was like to survive in those environments.
Wow, you guys must have had a pretty big budget.
No, you know, actually, the budget for the movie was an okay number, you know, but I kept my crew really low, and I'm really cheap, you know. I learned, working at Miramax, I learned how to save money and spend money wisely. You spend money on what's really important. You save money on the things you want, and then the things you really need is when you make the spend. So I sought out and followed and tracked down and chased this like really intense editor, Sam Pollard, who cut like Juice, who cut 4 Little Girls, who cut When the Levees Broke, who cut Crooklyn, Do the Right Thing. You know, like Sam was like the man. I don't think he did Do the Right Thing, but that's another story. Sam was a man. Sam was a big-time editor, and I was like, yo, Sam, I'm tracking you down. And when I wanted to get him, he was editing the Barack Obama documentary. And I was like, well, I can't fight that. I was kind of eclipsed by Barack Obama, but I wanted to make sure I had the proper money in the bank to make sure I could hire someone like that. So we got Sam and his whole team, actually, to come in and work on the movie, and my editor ended up being Ushwin Gandaber.
Awesome. Well, a little while back, you were talking about a mixtape.
I've really wanted to make the Prep School Negro mixtape from like day one, because I was like, it's a really strong and smart marketing tool. You know, it's a handheld that you can pass to people. Music is really hot. People like music, and you know, I want the purpose of the mixtape is communication, marketing, and to sort of try and somehow capture the spirit and the energy of the documentary through music. You know, that's totally separate, and get people interested and also get the name out there. And mixtapes do that. Mixtapes are high energy, people are down with it, people pass them around, you know, and it's one of those things, along with the movie, it'll just like be out there forever,
Yeah,
hopefully.
Of course. Now, is there anything else you want to add about the movie?
Yeah, I think the one little thing I want to talk about is the title. You know, the title is a little provocative. We don't really use the word Negro in our society anymore to describe black people, and I actually met a man this past week who was kind of like, I didn't want to see your movie because I'm a 60-year-old black man, and we worked a long time to get that word out of our vocabulary, and here you come, this young kid with a movie called The Prep School Negro, and it kind of took me aback, you know, but he watched it, and he said he was like, wow, I'm glad I saw it and got over myself. And there's been some concerns from some people saying, like, are you trying to tell white people that it's okay to call black people Negroes? You know, like, what? It's a really powerful thing you're doing here. I don't worry about that so much, because I'm really trying to take a stance as an artist and say this is a powerful, hot, hard title that people have, and it's in your face. And when you hear it, you have to really stop and think about it. And when you hear it, you know what the movie's about. You know, so I had to fight long and hard to keep that title, and I'm really proud to have it.
This is VentilationX Radio. I'm your host, Playdat. I've had a great time talking to Andre today. That's André Robert Lee of Many Things Management, LLC. Make sure you go check him out on Facebook. Make sure you go check out the fan page for the Prep School Negro. Become a fan, because I know you already are. Hope you had a great time listening today. I'll check you on the next one. Peace.
VentilationX Radio.